What's up, everybody? I'm Dreadful Gooz. I'm here at Murder the Mix Studios, and today we are going to be setting up a Les Paul Custom. Let's get it. So my man Uncle Alvin needs my help with a setup for this really cool Gibson Les Paul Custom. He's got a recording session that he has to do with a client on Friday night, and so I told him, yes, I can take care of it for you. So let's crack this baby open, take some closer shots of it, and let's get it all set up. We've got a bunch of Music Nomad products here. I love their stuff. We're going to be using their products to set this bad boy up today. Let me get some footage with my B cam. That way we can keep this angle in place. All right, guys, take a look at this. Look at this bad boy right over here. It's a bit dirty and definitely needs to be given some TLC. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the setup. Now, I played it just briefly. Real quick before we get started with the setup, I played it briefly the other day, and me and Alvin are both curious to see if these are either DiMarzios or Seymour Duncans. We don't know. They may even be stock Gibson pickups, but we're going to find out. All right, so before we do anything to this guitar, it is dirty. I don't know if it came across on that B cam footage, but it's actually pretty dirty. The pickups are dirty. The hardware is dirty. Frets and fretboard, Jesus, fretboard's like crying for like hydration, and there's a lot of dust on the headstock as well. So before we do any work to this thing, let's get this bad boy cleaned up. All right, so let's get these strings off. All right, finally. That took a lot longer than it should have, but all the strings are off. And now, time to clean this bad boy up. All right, so I'm gonna be using Music Nomad's Guitar 1 polish and cleaning formula. I like this one a lot. I think it's great. Some people like to spray it like in their rag and then rub it in. Other people like to spray it on the actual guitar themselves. I personally like to spray it on the guitar. Some people will say that it's not good to do that. It's up to you. You know, I'm not gonna tell you which one is best. And this guitar actually needs quite a bit. Now I may have to wipe this down a second time. All right, it's starting to look a lot better. One thing I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna try and polish some of this hardware. Yeah, I'm gonna take some steel wool to some of this stuff and polish this thing off. So real quick, we can see how the body's looking now. Still got some spots that are drying, like over here. Let's rub that in. All right, so you can see the top is looking much better. Right away, I'm noticing a couple of things. This guy right here needs to be tightened. And I took off some of the hardware because I do want to polish it with steel wool. It's looking a little bit rusty. So I want to go ahead and polish these guys. This is probably my favorite tool from Music Nomad. It will basically wipe away. It's like a nice little brush that won't damage the finish of any guitar. And it's super easy to get in these like hard to reach places, like especially here where you have like the pick guard. You know, it won't scratch the guitar's finish at all, like I said. But yes, it will get that stuff off the pickups as well. And like I said, it's really cool because, you know, you can just do all of this and not have to worry about damaging the guitar. Oh, I just realized it's not a Les Paul Custom, it's a Les Paul Classic. Sorry. Now, before I clean the rest of the body of the guitar and I have it in this position, I do want to go ahead and start cleaning up the fretboard. First thing we want to do is, again, so we don't damage the fretboard, we are going to take this frying system from Music Nomad again. I think all the products that I'm going to be using today are Music Nomad, maybe with the exception of one or two. But basically, these little guys are cool, these little guards. Basically, I think that's what they're called. They're like fret guards, where you can put them on the fret here. And actually, you know what? Let me get a closer shot for you. Let's just move the main camera. That way you guys can get more of the guitar and less of me. I think you guys want to see this more than my mug over here. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying, you'll take one of these fret guards and you'll put it on top of the fret, and then you'll go ahead and take some steel wool, pass it along the fret, and it'll shine the fret up nice and good, and it will not, you don't have to worry about damaging your fretboard. Geez, already like that looks so much better than the rest of the frets. Let me clean up this one, and then I'll take a close shot with my B cam, so you guys can see the difference of a clean fret and a fret that has been uncleaned for God knows how long. Look how easily you can see the shine on this. If I move it anywhere, as opposed to the other ones. The other ones seem like really like gray. And you got this guy shining bright like a diamond right there. You can see it better here. Look at that, clean. All these bad boys are dirty. So that makes a big difference when you're playing. When you got a nice clean fret like that, it just feels really smooth. So let's get the rest of these bad boys cleaned up. Started here just to show you guys, so let me start how I normally would. Now again, the reason why it's good to have these fret guards or fretboard guards, whatever, is because when you're cleaning the fret, you do have to apply a little bit of pressure. And you don't want to damage your fretboard. Also, when you're cleaning your frets, and like I said, you're gonna apply a little bit of pressure, try to have whatever you're using as your neck cradle. Try to, for example, if you're cleaning over here, don't have the neck cradle all the way over here, because you're pushing down on it and you're adding, stress onto the neck. So if you're working in this area, try to have it maybe one fret behind, maximum a fret and a half or 2 frets behind. That way you still have some support over here or in the part that you're working on. Yeah, these frets are starting to come alive now. And I only have a little bit left to go, but it is good to change your steel wool because it does get dull as well. And the fresher the piece of steel wool, the easier it is to clean. Yeah, see, I can just move along much faster. Now, when you're getting closer to the higher part of the neck, where the pickups are, here you're actually, you're rubbing in the frets pretty good. So it is good to take something like a microfiber cloth and just cover your pickups, because when you're cleaning these, you will get a lot of, metal shavings into your pickups, and you don't want that to happen at all. And again, look what I was talking about. Number one, look how freaking shiny these frets are now. Woo! Looking nice. And here's what I was talking about. All those metal shavings will get into your pickups. So that's why you need one of these microfiber cloths to cover your pickups. Specifically the neck pickup. You don't really need to cover the bridge too much because it's like so far back. But definitely cover this neck pickup up. And again, why I love this little guy is because you can just do that. There you go, and just start, wiping things off. Look at all those shavings right there, I just took off as well. Yeah, we can clean the fretboard too. There's definitely some shavings on there. Now, we're gonna go and clean the fretboard now. I also use steel wool to clean the fretboard. Now, some of you may be wondering, why the hell are you gonna, what's the point of using these guards if you're just gonna take steel wool to the fretboard? Well, the difference is that when I'm cleaning the frets, I need to add pressure, like I said. I need to add pressure, so I use the guards so that I'm not rubbing. If I am rubbing hard on it, it will only be on, either the guard or the fret. Now, when we're cleaning the fretboard with steel wool, we do it very, very lightly. We don't dig into the wood. We're just cleaning basically the top of it to make sure we get all that dirt and grime off of it. Again, I can't stress this enough. Very, very lightly, just to get the dirt and the grime from, sweaty fingers or anything else that could have fallen on your guitar, like beer. And again, very lightly. Don't put much pressure on this thing. Good. Now, sometimes in between the fret and the wood, let's say like right over, show this a little bit better. Right over here or so. Not sure if you guys can see this well on the camera, but right underneath or right next to the fret, sometimes you still get a little bit of dirt. What I'll do is I'll take this and basically wrap it in steel wool so we don't scratch the wood. And I'll just give it a nice once over, like so. Or sometimes I'll just, basically very lightly use this to clean off any little bit of dirt and grime that could be underneath there or next to there. Again, I can't stress this enough. Do this very lightly or you will have a bunch of scratches on your fretboard. All right, cool. And we'll do one really soft once over one more time. Great. And now we'll take this brush again and get all this stuff off. Great, 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 great. Now the fretboard is going to be looking really, really dry right now. Let me see if I can get this in the light for you. The fretboard is looking super dry, and that's okay because, like I said, we just took a bunch of steel wool to it, and on top of that, it was already super dry to begin with. Like, this thing's crying for some hydration. So what we're gonna do to fix that is we are going to use the F1 oil from Music Nomad. This thing is awesome. With this, a little goes a long way. So this bottle will last you freaking a long, long, long time. And it does a really good job of hydrating your fretboard. And the best thing about it is that it does not leave your fretboard gunky like other things. And I love this thing. I use it on all of my guitars and all of my customer guitars as well. Again, some people like to put this on the rag. I like to personally put it on the wood. None, in my opinion, is better than the other. It just depends on how you like to do it and how you feel about it. I do like to use this really heavy duty dry rag that comes with this thing that, Music Nomad provides, because it really cleans off the excess grease or the excess oil really well. So I just make a little circle on each fret, or should I say rather in between the frets. And now just take a little tiny corner. Don't just wildly start cleaning this thing off. Take one little corner, or whichever corner you like, and start to use that corner only. All right, and we are back on the main camera. So off camera, while I was waiting for this thing to dry, I did some other things to the guitar. I put the hardware back on. I finished shining up the hardware as best as I could. Put the hardware back on right here. I don't know if you can see the two-nomatic bridge is back on. Lowered the studs back into place. Also off camera, I adjusted, remember, I don't know if I said it earlier, that this guy was loose. So what I did was, Music Nomad has this really cool tool. It's like a little vice grip, and it has different measurements, has different sizes on each side. So it allows you to take your pots or anything like this and just tighten them or loosen them without damaging the guitar. I think that's pretty cool. Underneath, it's rubberized. So again, it won't damage the finish of your guitar. Like if you're doing it right over here on one of the pots. You better see that over here. If you're doing it on one of the pots over here like this, it won't damage the finish of your guitar. So that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, there's definitely, I can see why there's some scratchy pots. It's really dirty in here. It's got a lot of dust. So let me spray this thing, clean this thing out and spray it with some deoxit. Now again, do not use a lot of this. Deoxit, for those of you who don't know, is basically just a contact cleaner. It helps clean off like electronics like this that are very dirty, and it improves the connection, but do not overdo it. You want to spray in the input jack as well a little bit. While I have it in this position, I'm going to check up here as well. It's not as dirty in here, but it is a little bit dirty. So again, we're going to spray this in here as well. And again, this is going to be a little bit more waiting. We just have to basically wait until some of this dries off. And now that they've been sprayed, I'm going to continue to work on the guitar, and I'll leave this exposed just so it can dry up a little bit. Sometimes when you have a guitar that needs this much TLC, it could take longer to actually prep it for setup than actually doing the setup. All right, so today we are going to be using D'Addario XL strings, the nickel wound 10 to 52 gauge strings. I kind of find it easier to just take this thing off. Now also the reason that I can do this and just take them all out and just, you know, instead of putting them one by one, is because D'Addario has the ball ends color coded, if you don't know by now. So you can easily identify which string is which. And in case you mess up, you know, you can just, you'll know. So just so you can see here, I'm trying to get it. You see all the ball ends are a different color. All right, and now that we have all the strings, we'll just take it, pull it. There you go. These guys will start to go on one by one. Let's start with the big guy over here. I normally don't tie the strings, and I never have issues with tuning stability. I'll show you how I do it. I just like to make sure I have enough winds. And again, in the 15 or so years that I've been playing guitar, I've never had an issue with tuning stability. But for those of you who know how to do the ties properly, there's, I guess, no way that is better than the other. It really depends on the guitar, the tuning pegs, and a whole bunch of other things. So if it works for you, do it that way. Now, one thing I do like to do is I like to pull the string tight, and then I like to grab it at around the 12th to 9th fret, around there in this area, and pull it up and make sure I have enough slack. Make sure I have enough slack over here. That seems pretty good. Now when I clip it, I don't clip it right up against where the string passes through. I'll go and take it about 50% of the way in between the next tuning peg. Clip that there. Pull it back just a little bit more, and then I will start to wind it. Now again, one thing I like to do is I like to keep pressure on it, so as I'm winding it, it will get tighter and tighter. There you go. It's looking good, it's looking good. Now I'm going to show you how nice that looks over here. All right, now that looks a lot better than what was on here previously. And it'll save you a little bit of time if you already have these guys lined up so that the string can pass through straight like that. Then, like I said, what we'll do is we'll make sure we pull it real tight and then grab the string. Make sure you get enough slack, like you saw in the last one. You can see there it's pretty loose. we'll go ahead and clip it, and this is what I wanted you to see. I won't clip it right up against, I won't clip it right here. What I'll do is I'll take it about halfway between here and the next tuning peg, and then I will cut that about in the center. Then I'll pull it back just a little bit more. And then we'll start to wind. And then after it does the first wind, or wound around, I'll make sure I take it and hold it. Now what I'll do is I'll take this finger, my index, and I'll put it right there on the nut, and then I'll have my hand, basically I'm going to be doing this, if you can see it. One finger here is pulling it up, applying force, so that it stays nice and tight. Otherwise the string will just flop around and then you'll lose the grip that you have over here. And then you have this index finger holding it here at the nut as well. Now you don't want to do this too hard. Sorry, my ring is in the way. You don't want to go ahead and pull it too hard up here because you don't want to bend the string, but just enough where you have pressure on it. And then you'll go ahead and start to wind. Also make sure that it's seated properly over here at the bridge. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these. I'm going to zoom out so you can have a little bit more eye candy to look at other than just my hands. All right, so now that the guitar is strung up, I'm going to go ahead and tune it, and then we will begin checking all the little areas that we need to check in order to make sure that this guitar is set up properly. All right, guys, we are back. So I have gone ahead and put the knobs back on. The covers are still off. When I was tuning it up and testing it out to make sure that the electronics were good, I noticed that the pots were still a bit scratchy. So I was, moving the knobs a little bit, and I sprayed them with a little bit more deoxit. It was just really this pot. The other ones were fine. All of these guys were good. But I did have to spray this guy one more time. So I left the plate off. I left both plates off. But I will patch those up once we're done. So real quick, I've gone ahead and already adjusted the stop tailpiece and Tune-O-Matic bridge. Now you don't want the angle to be so extreme when it's shooting up, trying to get this on camera. But so far that seems to be working. We're gonna make some adjustments as we go along if we need to. But for now, the guitar plays okay. It's not 100% how I would like yet, but it's not that bad. It is playable and it plays okay. Now Music Nomad has a really cool system for checking the relief on the neck. Basically it involves you taking a capo. They have their own capo, but I actually lost it. So you can use like a regular capo. And we're going to put it at the first fret, like so. And then we're going to take the guitar and put it in a position, in the playing position. You do not want it resting on something like this because you're adding upward tension on the neck. So we want to take the guitar and we want to put it in the playing position. Now you can take this mat, or if you have a mat, just slide it on over. And there you go. Now you can rest the guitar right here. You don't have to worry about damaging the guitar on the table. See, because it's hitting the mat. So we want to go ahead now and take some of the tools that we have with Music Nomad. We want to first get the string height relatively close to what we would like. There's a bunch of markings on here. Not sure if you can see that, but there's a bunch of markings that tell you how to get it. So basically, we're going to take this, put it at the 12th fret, and it seems as if this one is actually a little bit too low. But knowing this, I don't want to make any adjustments yet. I want to take now the feeler gauge that Music Nomad has for checking the neck relief. cool thing about it is they have it specifically marked for like electric guitar, classical guitar, whatever. So same thing, you take a capo, you put it at the 1st fret, but this time you hold down the 12th fret and you go to the 6th fret here and you basically check to see how it feels. Now that right there tells me that the neck does need to be a little bit tighter. So we're gonna go ahead and make a slight truss rod adjustment. Now we're gonna go ahead and tighten the neck just a little bit. So the truss rod on this guitar is actually proving to be very, very difficult to move. I don't want to toy around with it too much because, again, like I said, I'm doing this as a favor to Alvin for one of his clients, and I don't want to really mess up this guitar. So we're going to leave the truss rod as is, and we're going to try to make some adjustments with the string height and pickup height. All right, so real quick, I can just see that the pickup height is a little bit too high. So we're gonna go ahead and make an adjustment and drop these guys down. Also, for you guys wondering, I did take the pickups out and I did uncover that they are the original Gibson pickups. And we're gonna raise the neck just a little bit, just to make it even. Cool. It's looking much better. Sure you guys can see that. It's looking a little bit better there. Now that that's done, we're going to try to get the appropriate height for these strings. We're going to take that capo, put it on the 1st fret, and with our gauge, so it seems as if this one can go up just a little bit. But I kind of like where it is right now. Let me play it for a little bit and see. So although the gauge says to raise it slightly higher, I actually really like it like that. It's really nice and comfortable to play. Yeah, it actually feels really, really good to play there. So again, although the gauge says to make some adjustments and make it slightly higher, I think I'm gonna leave it right there. But I do wanna check the higher side and see if we can make any adjustments to that. Yeah, so the higher side does seem to be a little bit too high. So let's take the gauge and see what's going on. We gotta get the capo. Yeah, so according to this, it actually could come down, and it definitely feels like it should come down a little bit. So I'm going to take this tool again and bring it down just a little bit. All right, so I've gone ahead and made the adjustments. Let me tune this thing back up. All right, so I made the adjustments. I'm gonna go ahead and check it. And it's pretty good according to the gauge, but I actually want to raise it a little bit higher actually. So again, I've made the adjustments. Let me tune this thing back up. All right, so I really like it the way it is right here. The only thing really left to do from playing this guitar is adjust the intonation. Now, the way you adjust your intonation is pretty simple. The open note needs to match the note that is fretted at the 12th fret. If your note reads flat, you'll move your saddle towards the neck. And if it reads sharp, you'll move it away from the neck towards the bridge. So let me go ahead and start checking the strings and adjust the intonation. My tuner is behind me, so I will have to be at a little bit of an angle. And sorry if you guys can't see 100% what I'm doing. All right, so the high E is good. The B seems good. The G seems good. D is also good. A is good. So wow, this is pretty cool. I don't have to do much here. Ah, okay, so right here, the low E string is reading flat. So we need to move it. We need to move the saddle towards the neck. Now I hate adjusting two Nomadic bridges because they are a pain in the butt. It would make more sense if the adjustment screws were here, but they're actually supposed to face the neck. So pain in the butt. Let's go ahead just to make it easier and loosen this low E string and remove it slightly. All right, so I made a slight adjustment. Luckily, this isn't a Floyd Rose, so you don't have to worry about the rest of the strings going in and out of tune. That's all right, so let's check it. All right, so that's reading that it is perfectly intonated. Well, there you have it, guys. This Les Paul is set up now and it is playing great. The only thing that I wish I was able to do was adjust the truss rod ever so slightly, but it really, in the end, didn't really need it because it plays great now and it is sounding great. I will get you some playing examples where the guitar will be mic'd up through my cabinets and through my whole, my recording console and everything. Right now, you were just hearing the audio straight from my chest mic. So again, I will get you guys some high quality sounds of this guitar. Turns out I spent more time cleaning it up and prepping the guitar than actually setting it up because it didn't really need too much work done to it. As always, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and follow all my social media links down below. Peace.